Good morning, good morning. Coming to you February 10th, 2019, 0800 hours, 40 minutes. I use military time because that's the time I enjoy using. I titled this When Men Have Standards and Requirements. I said standards because that shows the signs of the times we are in. I should use that more and more. We are being shown the signs of the times we are in. And we have a requirement. When you're groomed to be a young man, it seems as you are easier accepted as you are because you have the persona of a man that been around older people. And when you're not, for some reason, women can say you have you don't have the persona of you can tell you've been around a man. And it's based off of what women have been taught and what have men been taught. And in this case, if you wasn't raised around a man, you really haven't been taught nothing but just how to be, and I say it all due diligence and respect, is be a respectable man. Especially if you was raised around a woman, hopefully your mother or your grandmother or your aunt or somebody in your family took you in, whatever the situation may be. You was raised around your mother or another woman, and all you can do is learn and be shown and guided how to be a respectable man. Because there's parts of a man's life that a woman can't teach you. Just there's parts of a woman's life that you're going to experience if you have a daughter and you raise your daughter, and that's very few men in this world. So far, all my guy friends, their daughter's not of age. And one guy, his daughter is of age now. So he's about to experience something that a lot of men that we haven't experienced, or things that men don't talk about. That's one aspect I think that men should talk about to other men that raise their daughters. Is actually when your daughter got to this age, when your daughter started having her emotions and feelings and everything else, that one of those days hit like Monica song, what was your experience? And I would want to know about that. I think there should be a book. I think we should start talking about things more. I don't care what no woman say. If you're a man that's one day wanting to be a father or have a daughter, then I think that other men would love to hear your experiences in situations, because that right there will come in handy. That'll help you understand. And because because my niece, she's 6, and my other niece, she's 1. I didn't get to experience my other 2 nieces on my father's side because we grew up in different cities. So, but I got to watch them from afar away and just encourage them. And that's one thing I always did to do to my nieces. Man, if you never think about your life growing up and how you was presenting yourself to women. Start showing and guiding your nieces and your daughters, your what's the other niece and daughter, all the women in your family, whether you're a young man, tell them they're pretty, especially if there's no man around. Let them know that hey, you can do it. It's show up to their games, show up to their basketball games, show up to their volleyball games. If they're cheerleading, show up to their cheerleading practice. Just show up, be there for them. Let them know that somebody is there for them, because what I'm starting to see is women take the other path. So I'm gonna get on to men because that fall into the young men if she have a brother. Now this is very, very important. How the man of her house, once the woman understand, the single mother understand why it's imperative for the young African descendant, young man, African American, start knowing he's the man of the house, and he start laying down understanding to his sister how things is going to be. his sister can see how a man is going to be in a house. Not so much that her son, he don't run the house. He's going to take out the garbage. He's going to clean the stairs. He's going to do a lot of the handy things around the house that the daughters don't do. So if it's one brother and three girls, one brother, two girls, or five girls, because there's always seem to be more girls than well young women than young men in the house for some odd reason. And from this, he always have a super feminine characteristics. His persona is feminine. I'm not mad because I can't expect him to be anything else because all he's seeing is his sisters. The only men that I notice that don't now, nobody talks about this. These young men are very disrespectful to women. Men that's raised more around women, they're disrespectful to women because women are not truly promoting and advocating to men. Well, I mean, not to men, to each other. Think about those sisters. How did them sisters carry each other? Now, if they didn't have a strong mother, and this is where I say a lot of women are not strong, a lot of women are weak. And it has nothing to do with her holding down the house. How she nurture her daughter. That's what make or break a woman's strength or weakness. Either she's going to grow up and say, I don't need a man, or she's going to grow up and say, I want to be married, but I'm okay. I got to do things in my life first before I get a man. Like one of the instances is knowing how to cook. I think about this and I finally know how to say it to the people. I am 36 years of age and I made it so far into my life as a single adult male, African descendant, African American man. There's no way I don't know how to cook because that's the common question on the floor. And no woman answers that question. Even the most recent woman I was talking to, she said she know how to cook, but I asked her, "Can you cook?" She went around the question, but she is showing me pictures. Okay, she know how to put a meal together, and that's the thing. So now I'm gonna start using. So men, if I got a little wiser for us, start asking them, can they prepare a meal? Forget saying, "Can you cook?" Because we in the day and age is people think cooking is making pre-made meals out their microwave oven. Now, my mother, let's say she made Salisbury steak or a casserole. Sometimes, based on who the product maker, was, she presented us this casserole, but she knew how to make the sides. Or that casserole wasn't the main meal. She knew how to make the main meal. So if we was having a pre-made, let's say Salisbury steak, she made mashed potatoes from scratch. And then we had whatever else went with the mashed potatoes and the Salisbury steak. And sometimes we would laugh because like, Mom, that's two starches, when you're growing up, and she just look at you. But we was always appreciated because we grew up on the original welfare. So that's just what I want to go over real quick, like things to think about. Every time I do a video or something come to me, I like to say, hey, what about this? So get a little wiser, get a little better with each other. And hopefully we can start having that discussion and discussion boards and the vlogs and the blogs. But why I titled this Men Standards and Requirements, and I put a question mark. Me too, like for me, not me too. Oh, don't me too. That's a whole different movement and other different experience. But I titled that part requirements. Think about as a man things that you are required to do as a man, what you should be doing. And for me, I thought it was very funny when a woman decided to ask me certain questions. But in my mind, I already knew my requirements. My one is if the woman say a man is a protector, well, I know all the women in my family are safe. And I know I have shown all the women in my family how to protect themselves. Now, whether they pay attention or not is up to them. But I know I'm still around. But it's things that I was shown as a man. One thing I was shown as a man, the most dangerous time for a woman is not the night no more, but I would say the nighttime. If we go on by still the statistic and when our most of the these crazy things happening is at night because nobody can see you. Nobody can make out who you are. Where the shadows are, that's where the evil lurk. That's how I like as to put it. Where the shadows are, that's where ego lurk. Because I can get in that shadow and you can't see me. If I stand still deep in that dark place, you can't see me. So, brother, what color? I can have on white. You can't see me because it's dark. And what I have told my sisters and the women in my family, be mindful at nighttime. If you do have to go out at night, don't make it a continuous thing. That's why it's so dangerous to see all these young women out at nighttime and there's no men around. They're out with other women. That don't mean nothing. Oh, I got a gun. That don't mean nothing. A lot of men know how to fight. A lot of men know how to subdue you without even hurting you sometimes. And you think because you learned some self-defense or having a weapon, that's a helper. That's for you if you get in that situation. And that's coming from a situation that's being tried and true. Being tried and true is something you never want to do. That's as I know I've been in many fights. I've been tried and true. So now when I get in a fight, now my whole approach to fights is not to fight. That was never my approach. But more time, I didn't know how to avoid a fight. Now that is my first approach, how to avoid a fight. So what women you should do, as I said, try to go out less times at night. And if you do have to go out, make sure somebody know where you're going. And as you say, have a buddy. I don't care if it's a young man that's 11. Just have a buddy, and then have your mace, and then that's crazy. You need all of these things. So think about you needing all these things and you going out outside. So imagine leaving your house with a purse with all these things in it. You know how heavy that is? That's taking away where you're going. That's slowing you down. So travel lightly and fast as you can at night. And make sure, and if you're in your vehicle, I've been showing this more recently. If you are driving and you are with a man, you are with a woman, the woman is driving. Do your best to make sure that woman's in the car first. This is what you do. You get the woman to the side of the car. When she get in her car, make sure her door is closed before you go to your side of the car. And make sure the door is locked. Because as you go to your side of the car, you might have to lock your side. Make sure she lock her side. Because as you move around the car, a guy that's watching or a person, a woman or a man, they're not even being a guy because women are robbing people nowadays as well. That statistics is going up. Make sure her door is locked because that gives you time to react. And only one you need to protect now is yourself. And she can drive off or she can call for help as fast as she can. Because now she's scanning her surrounding. And make sure the woman too, show her to scan. We call it search and assess left, search and assess right, search and assess behind you. Because I already scanned out surrounding. But since it's nighttime, I can't miss things. Because it's funny, I would be able to find something at night that's small as the post on a woman ear. And if it's a full key, I miss the key over and over. I'm like, how come I can't find this key? And I'm looking right at the key, but that little post, or this will be a spring out the pencil. See the springs that's in the pen? You can drop that out of the ground at nighttime. I will find it for some odd reason. But ask me to find and look for something that's clear as day as this, that's big as this book, and it's a sign and it's neon green and it's glowing. I will miss it for some odd reason. I don't know why. So scan your surroundings. That was something I was taught as a young man. Well, I'm 36 now. They still call me young man, so I say young man. I think I'm at a decent age of a adolescent man, adult male, and that was something I was shown. That's something a man should always do. Another thing I say as a requirement, I lived on my own for a while, and this is coming from a man. Now, women don't talk about this. A lot of things women don't talk about with women, I find that very intriguing. I say intriguing because as a man, I would approach a man and the man would start talking to me about his life. He don't know my background. He don't know if I came from the streets or not. And we would start talking. And I learned young men, we do listen to older men. So that's a myth. That's a myth buster. Like they had that show, a myth buster. We listen to young men, and I also do when I make my approach, my code approach to the young man is I can shut up if you want me to, and I will let them know that. I was like, yeah, man, if you don't want me to talk, they were like, no, 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 go ahead. It may be something they never heard, or they heard something in between that they never heard. Because you gotta remember, every person on this earth, even women, is knowledge based. We always want to be fed new knowledge, especially when it's good for our soul. We don't talk about feeding our soul no more. We also talking about feeding our physical body. We're never talking about feeding our spirit. That's what I had. I got to get back. I'm gonna start doing more of those lives. Like what we lost as we don't. If you don't feed your spirit, this is what you lose. That is one thing you lose because your spirit and your soul is actually aligned to each other. So the easiest way for help you understand is your heart and your mind. So imagine you trying to do something in your mind and your heart is not agreeing with you. So you want to wake up and go practice one day, and you know you need this practice because you got a game coming up in 2 weeks against the top player in the league. Well, you make sure you want to stay on schedule, and your mind is saying, I don't want to do this. Why? Your heart, like, I got to do this because your heart is strong right now. You built yourself up. Now let's do reverse. Your heart saying, I'm not doing this. Your mind saying, I got to do this. Now, those two not being on one accord will hurt you. But the thing that kicks in is that now what men are more than women of discipline. You would discipline yourself to do it. Don't matter what you want to do. Because when you discipline yourself, like you saying, what I used to do, I got to do 2 a days. I got to make sure I'm not good at push-ups. And if I want to do push-ups, like they say in that video, I can't go by all the way their instructions. I have to go a little above and beyond. I'm not as fast as that guy. I'm not as strong. I'm not built a certain way. I don't have the square chest. And if I want those things, I got to say, okay, I got to add on another workout. But I make sure I know my body first. I know how much water I need, and I know how much things I need to do for myself. That's why check out or understand the power of oneness. The power of oneness is when you align to your spirit and your soul, and your heart and mind have to feature one each other. If they don't feature one another, everything you say goes out the door. So no matter how much I want to protect a woman, if my heart and mind is not aligned and my soul is not building up to be where I need me to be, that won't even matter. Forget going on a date with a woman. I should go on a date with myself. See, that sounds funny. Go on a date with yourself. Sometimes, go out by yourself. See what you already like. I hate using the word like, but in this case, I'm going to use it because I can't think of another word at this moment. What you like and dislike. There you go. The pros and cons of yourself. Once you understand the pros and cons of who you are, then you will understand, I don't like this and I do like this. But if you're going to take the time out to get to know a person and you add a woman to your life, pros and cons going to stay in play. But now you're going to dip into her pros and cons. What do she like and what do she don't like? And then now I don't use, and this is one word that I'm throwing out the door, and I try to explain it to women, but I tell them I use it for their sake, but I use it with the other word. I don't use the word compromise because com means to cast over and bring, and promise is, see, if you look up compromise, when you compromise things, you break the true meaning or the true origin of it. I'm not here to reinvent the wheel for a relationship because that's not something I'm going to focus on. But I know what my pros and cons is for myself. So what we start garnishing again and grooming our young men and women as a requirement is to make sure that they understand who they are. And the biggest thing that we don't do anymore is communication. If now, just take it, today is again, I also got to keep looking for some reason. February 10th, 2019. So it's February 10th, 2019. So February 10th, 2020, let's say we need to save money. And let's say me or my woman, When we living together now our incomes are coming together. Are we bringing our incomes together? Whether she make more now or I make more, we still bringing our incomes together and we paying bills. If I need her to understand me for we can do what we need to do for this year. So next year it'll be easier than the year after that it'll be because you don't predict the future. You prepare for it. And what you're doing in the now is a present. That means it's a gift. I look at now as a present. It's a gift to you. It's present. Anything can happen at any moment, but you prepare every day, little by little, every minute. You're preparing yourself for the future. So right now, the future is, to sound silly, is 1900 hours at 1900. I mean 0900 hours at 0900 hours and 1 minute. That's the future. You're preparing for it. You're doing all the things for the future. So even as you learn and you gather more knowledge, that's the future. So if I'm reading a book on, it can sound funny, How to Be a Man. See, that's another thing I learned too. Read books on how to be a man. Look at the man that wrote the book. Go Google him. Go study him. Or while you're in the library, go look up his name. See what he, look up his life and see, okay, so now when I'm listening to him, you can have a little better, always try to get a little better basic understanding of everything you do. And I learned that's very cool to do is to, if I'm watching a movie, I'm reading a book, I'm watching a TV show, I'll go look up the person that produced this movie, or because that gives you a better idea of their thoughts. And then now, if you're the type of person I am, and you seek knowledge, after you watch a movie 5 times, I think you're trying to understand the movie, even though you enjoy it. Now you're trying to understand, as in a song. Have you ever listened to a song where you heard more than 10 times, and you finally you listen to it again one day? You was like, you say such as, I didn't never hear that before. Oh wow, that beat part is sweet. Think about that. That's what you do. Nobody thinks about that. So you acquire something that you didn't acquire before the other 9 times you listen to this song. But for some reason, because how you acquire and how you was seeking, you was like, okay, I heard that. Or maybe you was messing up on the lyrics, and now since you knew the other part of the song, and like, okay, that rhyme better. As you heard me probably did a rhyme. I do slanted rhymes. I won't match read with bleed. Well, that is almost a slant, a little bit. But like the same words, I won't really match them together. I would take 2 words that sound similar. That's a slanted rhyme. You take words that really just don't have no similar meaning. They just sound similar. They're far, they're away from each other. Like instant rocket, you could say pocket. Like if I say dog, I would say I can't. I would have to say something to do it because sometimes I don't know how to do the top of my head. And so those are some things. Hopefully it helped you because you do have requirements and standards. I say please stick to them because that's showing people around you who you are, and that's showing the woman more so that I have a little discipline. I stand on it because women are really, we're taught more discipline. They're taught more nurture, even though you're seeing a lack of discipline and nurture nowadays. And then women can automatically assume. And the first beginning of the word assume is ass. And a woman has said that to me. She like, you got me right, but you still assume. And like you could, she highlighted the word ass. I was like, that was very unique. And I love talking to women as her name was Dominique. I had a little crush on her. But my first assumption of her was I thought she was gay in the military, the way she carried herself. But talking to her, she just was a strong woman. But she wasn't the average strong African descendant woman because she had the father there or the guy that was there with her from the child's birth. She never turned me off, even though I wanted to understand her. It was just I knew about her, but she was so free to be herself. But deep down inside, even with her, she battled some things. And then as I watched her social media and watched her, I was just in awe of her. I admired her. I was inspired by her. And come to find out, she was straight. She loved men. She was she had good discipline because she was a vegan. I was like, oh, it makes sense. A lot of vegan people have great discipline after a while. That it wasn't new. She's been a vegan for at least 8 or 9 years now. So the new vegan people they had nothing on her, and she followed it to a T. She wouldn't eat certain things. She would read it and ask the people. And I thought she was. And then that crossed over showed me African American women. Not all of them are mean to be mean. So that just showed me who she was. So started thinking about that, and she had requirements, and I found that was nothing wrong, and that revealed that it threw away her stigma and stereotype. For most men and women, men we do have a stigma stereotype on women, especially our own women. And don't matter how much you think it, just drop it, let it go. So what I say unto one, I say unto all: is your path, it's your journey, it's your choice. Choose wisely. Start thinking about make a list. Make a list of your requirements, your pros and cons. What is a pro and con to yourself, and what you think a pro and con could be to somebody else. Then make another list, a pro and con. Think what do you think highly of yourself or not? Why don't you? And then get a book. Make it. I got a notebook and a record book, and so and I have so many things outlined about who I am, where I'm going in life. It's filled. It's not. I don't write in as much as I should, but I have all these different types of things, and I'm gonna transfer them. I'm a memo person. I need these to help myself be better. And I want every once in a while when I find myself getting down, because I remember seeing a lady. She was saying something. I'm gonna write to her now. Now I know what to say to her. I didn't know what to say to her at first. When I find myself being down, I revert back to my old notes. So you have a great day. It's Sunday. They say Sunday fun day. I don't know why. I don't know why this too. Sunday is the day where people, I can't call it do the most evil. It seems like to do the most odd things out of the week. I don't know why. And it has nothing to do with the days, because the worship day, it should be on Saturday. But for some reason, because Sunday is the first day of the week, to me, Monday is not the first day of the week. But that's each is everybody own, trusting and believing in. So you have a good day. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a live later, but you enjoy your day and you be the best person you can. Keep working towards to be the best person you can. So if you do decide you do want a relationship, you want love, it won't be a hassle to you to do all those things. Say la.